Winning Blueprint presents.
It's the Redskins Report, so it's everything Redskins and anything of the sort. The 2012 Washington Redskins, your NFC East champions, the Redskins Report.
It's been a while since I had to don the black and the gold. I was hoping not to have to put it back on for the rest of the season, and the way it looked, it was starting to seem like more and more of a realistic possibility that I wouldn't have to put it back on. But here we are. First week of the playoffs, wild card weekend, weren't able to get it done. And look, for all of you out there making excuses, blaming Mike Shanahan, blaming Robert Griffin III, stop it right now. Stop it right now. One thing we will not do, and I've seen some ugliness already. I'm hearing a lot of craziness from a lot of Redskins fans. I'm hearing a lot of craziness from Seahawks fans. One thing we will not do is make an absolute mockery of this season. We've had a great season. We came from the depths of destruction all the way to division winner. And so we will not mar this season by having it end in controversy, in backstabbing, name-calling, finger-pointing, none of that. Let's go ahead and wrap this season up with class, just as we showed and exhibited throughout this 7-game winning streak. No need to get ugly now. No need to go back and forth name-calling with fans who just don't get it. Leave it alone. Don't second-guess the coach. Don't second-guess the player. It is what it is. I told you. It's a big-picture thing. We're looking at it from the macro level, but you also have to look at it from the micro level. This thing isn't guaranteed to us. We could be the worst team in the NFC East again next year. We could go from being the best to back to the worst. So you can't look at it and say, hey, you can't risk your best player now, because you got to win now. You got to play in the here and now. Tomorrow isn't promised. We're not guaranteed anything. So that's first and foremost. Second of all good things must come to an end. We were hoping that they didn't come to an end this soon, but it did. So it's hard to really give this season perspective because you're still in the moment. You're still upset. You still feel like if we were healthy, if this, if that, if is the biggest two-letter word in the dictionary. It's a huge word. I don't deal with ifs. We lost. Simple as that. I could sit here and make excuses all day, but why? It's not going to give us a W. It's not going to change the outcome of the game. So why? All we can do is look at the game, look at some of the mistakes we made, talk about them, address them, move on. That's all we can do. There's not really much more to say. I will say this. Our field, the conditions, the turf itself, terrible, horrendous. They have to do something about that. We're playing on green dirt, green sand, for lack of a better term. That's what we're playing on. They spray painted it green, sprayed some white lines on it, and called it a football field. Our field is atrocious. It is an atrocity. They need to fix that. I don't know what they want to do. I like the natural grass surface. I'm a big fan of that. I don't want to go to the turf. But if we have to get rid of that nonsense, then that's what we need to do. But we can't continue to play on that. That's not a home field advantage for us. That's just a disadvantage for both teams. And a man tore his ACL because of it. Chris Clemens, the defensive lineman for the Seattle Seahawks, he lost his ACL because of our field. And anytime that's happening, I don't care if I don't like the team because it's official now. I went into this game with no ill will toward the Seattle Seahawks, other than the fact that they knocked us out of the playoffs the previous 2 times we were there. I had no ill will, no personal vendetta against the Seattle Seahawks. After this game, however, I absolutely, positively, 100%, unequivocally do not like, and this is personal now, the Seattle Seahawks. I don't like them. I had an idiot fan come on that watched the show, and he just went nuts. You know, he left a comment, and I was just playing with him. You know, he said they were going to beat us 42-9. I'm like, wait a minute. We're not Buffalo. We're not Arizona. Don't confuse us with one of your garbage opponents. Okay? We're not the Cardinals. Don't look at us as if we're the Jets or Buffalo. Get out of here with that nonsense. This is the playoffs. We didn't back our way in. We won the division. So show me some respect. That's all I was saying to him. He took it all out of context. And so once they won the game, he wants to send me 30 messages all saying the same thing. Absolutely nothing. I wasn't going to stoop to his level. I was just going to let him know, hey, you got a gift. Robert Griffin III wasn't healthy. You guys got a gift. I'm not mad. You guys took advantage. After being down 14-0, you roared back, were able to weather the storm on the road, came back and got a victory. My hat's off to you. I tip my cap. I can't be mad at that. I wished him the best of luck, and I left it at that. Of course, he wouldn't leave it alone. He continued to pick at the scab, pick at the wound that was that loss. But I'm not going to go there with him because, again, I lose with class. I'm gracious in defeat as I am when we win. I love winning. Winning is my most favorite thing in the world. I love to win. But you're not going to win all the time. Maybe you can win all the time, but it usually doesn't happen that way. So now I have something against the Seahawks. Between that fan, Richard Sherman, Brandon Browner, and Red Bryant. Between those Seahawks and that fan, I don't like the Seahawks anymore. I don't like them. I can't stand the Seattle Seahawks now. And again, like I've said, I don't have many teams that I go into a season saying, I don't like you. That's just not who I am. But add the Seahawks to that short list. I don't like the Cowboys. I don't like the Giants. I don't like the Eagles. And I don't like the Seattle Seahawks. Add them to the list. So I'm going to try to wrap this thing up as quick as possible. But I may be a little long-winded here. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to get to, a lot of things to sort out. But I'm going to try to be as fast as I possibly can, be as efficient with my time as I possibly can, because I know these videos can get a little lengthy and sometimes I can get a little wordy. So I'm going to try to be as efficient, but this is the last one. So I wouldn't feel bad if this one was the longest one, because this is the last one. There are no more Redskins reports, at least not until we start talking about the draft and things of that nature. I might give a special edition Redskins report when we get the results back from the Robert Griffin III MRI, but I'm pretty sure it's going to reveal that he tore his ACL and he tore his LCL. Your knee does not buckle and give way like that unless you tear something. You don't just have your knee collapse on you unless you tear something. And so I'm pretty sure that there's some type of structural damage in that knee now. He's going to have to rehab. Simple as that. I don't think it's fully torn. I just think it's partially torn. Nonetheless, it's still torn. He's still going to need surgery. There's still going to be a rehab process. So we'll see how long that takes. Let's hope I'm wrong. I'm no doctor. I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn last night, so who knows? I could be flat out wrong about this. Let's hope that I'm wrong, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good, and Robert himself didn't sound too convinced that it wasn't torn after the game, so don't like the way this is heading. But let's get into the game. Let's talk about what occurred as the Redskins fell to the Seahawks 24-14 at home in the wild card round of the playoffs. Let's talk about how this came to be and why we are at home now instead of moving on to the divisional round of the postseason. Okay, so we got the ball first. You know how I feel about that. I'm not going to go into that, but it's so disappointing when you win the toss and you refuse to buy into the notion that it does you no good to get the football first. But I tell you what, if you're going to get the football, I always say this, if you're going to take it, do something with it. That's exactly what we did. First play of the game, 8 yards to Alfred Morris. You already see the chippiness. After that 8-yard gain, guys are pushing, shoving. We push and shove so long that we got to call timeout. We get back to the huddle. We get to the line of scrimmage. We don't have enough time to run the play. Robert's helmet, the last 2 games at home, for some reason, he can't get the helmet to work. The microphone inside the helmet and the headset that allows the coordinators and the coaches to speak to him, some reason it's not working the last 2 games. So he had to go over there, it was malfunctioning again, had to ice a timeout. Again, I don't care about first half timeouts. The second half timeouts are the ones that I don't want you to waste. So, okay, timeout. We come back after the timeout. 14-yard wide receiver screen to Pierre Garçon. First down, we're moving the football. I like that. You know, first 2 plays, very successful plays. I like it. So then, another 9-yard run for Alfred Morris on first down, and we are moving the football. This is impressive. I mean, the Seahawks defense was all that was talked about outside of Robert Griffin III and Russell Wilson. All they were talking about was the Seahawks defense. And for us to come out, first couple of plays, and really establish ourselves, that looks good. It looks really good. Next play, Robert runs for 3 on the first down. That play told you a lot because there was a lane that was created. And we all know, for us who have watched Robert all season long, the Robert Griffin III that we saw for the first 13, 12 weeks of the season, between the wide receiver and the tight end, there was a gaping hole that they created. Oh, he takes that up that seam, and who knows what he does with it after that. Instead, Robert elected to go outside of the block and just get 3 yards and get the first down. So you knew right there he wanted no part of contact if he didn't have to, endure it. And I understand. I get it. I get it. So we get the first down nonetheless. Move the sticks. Next thing you know, play action fake because that run had been working so effectively the first 2 times we did it. Play action fake, Pierre for 29 down the sideline. Beautiful throw, beautiful connection. Pierre breaks a tackle, gets some extra yardage. And all of a sudden, we're in Seahawks territory. We're moving the football. We're threatening them right off the bat. I'm loving it. McDonald's. I am loving it. So then, the very next play, AM bust off a 17-yard run down to the 3-yard line. And I'm astonished because our offense is good, but we're making it look easy at this point. A little bit too easy. So we get to the 3-yard line, and I'm saying to myself, this drive has been so easy. Watch us stall out right here inside the 5. It was too easy to get down here. They're going to buckle up. They're going to tighten the screws, and we're going to have to settle for a field goal. So sure enough, first down, we don't get it. Second down, we don't get it. Third down, we send Evan Royster in the game. He runs a little hook route into the end zone. Right inside of that zone coverage, Robert throws a dart. Evan holds on. Touchdown. We're up 7-0. A beautiful 9-play, 80-yard drive capped off by a 3-yard Evan Royster touchdown reception. That's as good as it gets. I mean, if you're going to take the ball first, why not do something with it? And you can't be any more efficient than we were on that first possession of the game. I mean, that is the way you draw it up. If you script your first 15, 9 of those 15 look exactly like that. And so we go right down the field, march right down the field, and we score. Impressive. Very, very impressive was that first drive for the Redskins as we take the lead 7-0. So we kick it off. Seattle has the football. Our defense gets on the field for the first time in the game. And I'm kind of anxious to see what this Seattle Seahawks offense looks like because I feel like they have a copycat offense. I mean, they weren't running read option earlier on in the season. They saw what we were doing and the success we had with Robert running the read option, and they decided, hey, if it works for them, why can't we run it? Our quarterback has a similar skill set to theirs. Why can't we run read option and run it successfully like they are and have success doing it? I felt like they weren't using Russell Wilson adequately in terms of using his athleticism to create mismatches early on in the season. And then as they started using it and being more efficient with it, their offense got better and they started blowing teams out. And so I was anxious to see what this offense looked like. We get on the field and their first play, I'm thinking it's going to be Marshawn Lynch and a lot of it. They go up top. Incomplete. 2nd and 10, they try to throw it again. They don't get it. Now they're in 3rd and long. And we come after them. And Bowen absolutely destroys his man on the play. Stephen Bowen steamrolls his man. He teams up with London Fletcher, who came free on a perfectly timed blitz. And those two combine for a sack, and we force a punt. And as impressive as the offense was, the defense was equally impressive on their first drive. So all of a sudden now the crowd is raucous. It's hype. It's live at FedEx Field. They're punting us the football after that impressive first drive. Richard Crawford catches the football, makes a couple guys miss, and he gets a great return. We're at the 46-yard line, so we're basically at midfield. And so I'm like, hey, let's not squander this great prime field position. Let's get more points. Let's put pressure on this Seattle Seahawks offense to score points because I don't think they're that explosive on the road. So we take the football and we start driving it down the field. We get a 3rd down conversion on 3rd down to Moss. And in this game, Santana Moss was big on 3rd downs, especially early in the football game. When we needed a conversion on 3rd down, we went to Moss, and he bailed us out several times. Then we get another 1st down on 2nd down with Robert running the read option. Logan Paulson gets 11 on a 3rd and 1 on a play-action fake pass that was beautifully executed. They were looking up for the run. They sold out on run. Logan Paulson catches it, rumbles up the sideline, gets some yardage, and we're moving the football again impressively. And I'm saying to myself, man, this is really easy. This is scary easy right now. And the way I felt at the beginning of this game, if we could somehow come out of this game victorious and keep Robert Griffin III intact, and we're playing like this, who wants to play the Redskins? Who wants to play us? We hadn't got in yet, but I was saying to myself, if we get in and we go up 14-0, the Seahawks could be in some serious trouble. So we continue to move the football. And Corey Lichtensteiger had left on the first possession right before we scored the touchdown. He tried to give it a go. The ankle wouldn't hold up. He had to exit the ball game, so Josh Laribus was in. I was a little concerned about that because, as we know, the Seahawks have a great front four that can really put pressure on you. This wasn't the game to be tossing in guys who didn't have a lot of experience. So I was a little concerned about Laribus. For the most part, I thought he did a solid job, but there were a couple of times where he just got blown up. There were a few times where he was just blown up. But, I mean, what do you expect from a rookie coming in, being thrust into action? You're going to get some plays where they just don't go the way you want them to. So we get down in the red zone, and on one of the plays inside of the 5-yard line, Robert rolls out, I believe it was 1st down, and he's searching for a receiver to throw the football to. He finds Pierre Garçon in the end zone. Doesn't quite hit him the way he wants, but in trying to plant and throw it, throwing across his body, his knee gives out on him. And that was the first time in the game where we all started to hold our collective breaths. Because if he can't get up, if he's hurting, we're in trouble. And he had already scrambled a few times. He had took a few shots early in the game, but he had got up. He was fine. This time, He was slow to get up. He took the helmet off. And when Robert takes that helmet off, something's wrong. And so he took the helmet off because he fell down. And every time he falls down and the head snaps back, the helmet kind of slides up. So he took the helmet off. He was limping. Uh-oh. Trouble. And I knew from that point on, we are in some trouble. I was hoping, because if you've ever worn a knee brace before, you know that that thing can slide and it can alter the way you walk. It can give you a limp if it's not on properly. And so I was just hoping, because he didn't get touched on the play. That was the thing that made me feel good when I saw the replay, was he wasn't touched. I thought he took a shot and that's how he hurt himself. He just planted wrong, tweaked it, and I was hoping that maybe the brace just fell down because of how he fell, and it just shifted a little bit, and once he had a chance to get to the sideline, they could readjust it, tighten it up, and he'd be fine. That was my hope. We go back in the huddle, and a couple plays later, he finds Logan Paulson on 3rd down for a 4-yard touchdown. We go up 14-0. The place is rocking. I'm feeling good about it, but I'm still nervous because I don't know what's wrong with Robert at this point. And in my head, I'm saying, that's 14. That's nice. But, there's a but. If Robert isn't right, if he really tweaked it, and he can't run read option anymore, what does that mean for our run game? What does that mean for him throwing the football from the pocket? What does that mean for our offense moving forward? That was in my mind. But I was excited about the 14-0 lead. But I'm concerned. Now it's cautious optimism. Instead of me just being optimistic about the 14-0 lead, because trust me, if Robert isn't hurt, if he doesn't tweak it, and it's 14-0, oh, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs to put these clowns away. Put them away. But now, it's instead of it being a full-blown, yeah, it's a, okay, what's wrong with Robert? Yes, 14. Let's find out what's going on with Robert. Let's find out what's going on with Robert. Before you get excited, find out what's going on with Robert. That's where my mental state was. That's what I was feeling at the time. Absolutely ecstatic about the score. Concerned more about the health of the quarterback. Okay, so I'm concerned, but Robert has nothing to do with the defense. Robert impacts our offense and what we can do offensively. Defensively, we just spotted you 14 points. And so now I want the defense to go out and stifle these Seattle Seahawks. The crowd is into it. This is the loudest I've ever heard FedEx Field. And so the crowd is into it. They're on the ropes. We're up 14-0. They're on the road. They're not a great road team. Let's stick it to them. And on 2nd down, Perry Riley comes free on a blitz off the corner, off the left side of the offense. Gets the sack. And all of a sudden, it's 3rd and 12. And I'm saying to myself, if we force a punt here, we're going to get good field position again. We could possibly blow these guys out. I'm starting to have those type of thoughts run through my head because they've already panned a shot over on the sideline of Robert. He's already ran into the little hut, and they fixed him up. And I'm starting to convince myself that it was just a knee brace. He's fine. They readjusted the brace. He's good to go. I've already psyched myself up into thinking that way, and now I'm ready to continue on with the game. So I'm re-energized now. I'm like, okay, let's get him. So now it's 3rd and 12, and I honestly think that there were several plays in this game that were huge, that I felt like were turning points. This was one of them. 3rd and 12, Russell Wilson is panicking. We've got him off of his spot. He's rolling out towards his right. He throws an off-balance throw that barely makes it to Zach Miller, who makes a great catch, picks it up off the turf. 2 Redskins are there. All they have to do is corral him, stop him short of the 1st down, and they got a punt. Instead, they miss the tackle. They allow him to sneak by them and get the 1st down barely. They needed 12. He got 13. They moved the sticks. They ended up getting 2 chunks later on that possession. Russell Wilson runs for a 19-yard gain. Sidney Rice catches another nice pass later on, and they get a field goal later on that possession. Reed Dowdy, and I thought this was a game full of missed opportunities for the Redskins on defense and even on offense. I just felt like this was a game of missed opportunities. And in the playoffs, everything is magnified. You can't afford to have missed opportunities. And I thought Reed Doughty had a chance in the end zone to pick a pass off. Instead of him trying to catch it with his hands, tried to catch it with his body, allowed the receiver, Baldwin, to come from behind and knock the ball down and tackle Reed Doughty. And that could have taken points off the board. That could have been a momentum boost. Instead, the Seahawks found a way to get 3 points in. It didn't seem large at the time, but you knew that they weren't going to go away. And with Robert having that injury, we still didn't know the severity of it. Like I said, I was convincing myself slowly over time that it was just a knee brace. But when he came back onto the field, it was apparent. This was no knee brace issue. This was the knee itself. And this was going to be a lingering issue throughout the game, and it could progressively get worse. That was my next worry. So they haven't stopped us on offense yet. So I want to see us continue to move the football. That's my primary goal. We just gave up 3. Go get it back. I want my points back. And so that's what I was looking to accomplish on this next possession. So we get the football, and this drive looks a little sloppy. Luckily enough for us, Robert is stripped on 3rd down, but they call illegal contact. We recovered a fumble, but we would have had to punt. Instead, illegal contact, 1st down. Doesn't matter. 3 plays later, we got a punt. And for the first time all day, the offense did not move the football efficiently, did not really look that smooth. And now you start to wonder, you start to have your doubts because everything started to coincide with that tweak of that knee. We were able to get the touchdown on that possession when he tweaked the knee, but you knew that everything changed at that moment. And so this was the first possession after the knee tweak, and it did not look crisp at all. And so you're starting to think, is there a correlation here? That knee isn't working properly anymore. He's re-aggravated the injury. Is he going to be able to hold up in this football game? Do we need to change to Kirk Cousins? That was the next thought. Do we need to switch to Kirk Cousins? I wasn't even entertaining that thought. Not until the second half. Right now, I'm still thinking that we're good. Defense is playing solid football. Seahawks haven't really done anything to this point to really warrant me being afraid offensively. Defensively, we're taking care of business offensively. We didn't get anything done or anything accomplished on the last possession, but the previous 2, we scored touchdowns. So still feeling good about the offense. I really like what the defense is doing. I'm still confident. So Seahawks get the football. Lynch gets loose for 18 on a botched read option play. Here's another example of what I'm talking about. Opportunities missed by the Redskins. They try to run the read option. Ball slips out of Russell Wilson's hand as he goes to try to reestablish possession of the football. He knocks it up in the air. Marshawn Lynch has already went on his merry way because it's read option. He didn't get the football, so he carried out the fake. Reed Doughty tackles Russell Wilson after he tries to recover the fumble, and now the ball is loose. And we can't get to it first. Marshawn Lynch calmly just scoops it up and runs for 18 yards down the sideline. Those kind of plays are very telling as to if it's going to be your day or not. Sort of like when a field goal clanks off of the uprights and goes in. Maybe it's your night, or a pass is tipped in the air and bobbled and your guy still comes down with it. Maybe it's going to be your night. One of those kind of omen type plays. I didn't like the way that one looked. That was supposed to be something that resulted in a loss for the Seahawks or a recovery for the Redskins. Not an 18-yard gain. That play wasn't supposed to be successful, but it was. And I was uneasy after that. Now I'm starting to think, and again, I was a nervous wreck before this game started. Absolutely nervous. 2 touchdowns calm you down really quickly. And they really served as an antidote for me because it calmed me down. It brought me to a nice even keel kind of balance, which I needed because I was a wreck. I was shaking. I wanted this one bad. I really wanted this one bad. I could feel the chills on my arm because It's playoff football. We're home. Something I haven't seen in a long time. It felt good. I wanted this one. And to jump out to a 14-0 lead, you feel like everything is right there in front of you. You get the injury, and then things start going downhill. But make no mistake about it, the Seahawks, they smelled blood in the water. And they knew they had a wounded duck back there in Robert Griffin III, and they started to tee off. They started to come after him. They knew he wasn't going to be that effective in the read option game, so they focused on Alfred Morris, kind of slowed down our running attack. I thought we didn't run the football enough. I really didn't. I honestly didn't think we ran the football enough. I really didn't, because you got a wounded quarterback. You see he's hobbling back there. You need to be taking the pressure off of him, much like you did against the Cowboys. Run the football. I don't care if it was like we were running against a brick wall, which we weren't. Alfred Morris was averaging close to 6 yards a carry midway through the second quarter, and we just went away from the run. I couldn't understand that for the life of me. There was too many first down passes going on. Too much play action fake. Too much wide receiver screens. Run the football. The Seahawks haven't shown you the ability to consistently stop our rushing attack. We're the #1 rushing team in the league for a reason. Run the football. I think we really played into their hands by not running the football effectively on first down. We're a team that runs on first down for 8, for 9, for 5, for 7 yards consistently. We're a team that makes it second and third and short, third and manageable. When you pass on first down and you don't get it, and then you decide to run on second down and you only get 3, now it's 3rd and 7. That's 3rd and long. We're not a team that finds ourselves in 3rd and long that often. But back to the game. I went off on a tangent. Michael Robinson on the next play after that Lynch scoop up and run after the fumble for 18. Michael Robinson gets open on 3rd down, and that was another issue. We weren't able to get off the field on 3rd downs enough. Our 3rd down defense in this game after the first 2 possessions were horrendous. But nonetheless, Michael Robinson catches the football wide open on play action fake. Gets to about 5-yard line or so. The Seahawks are in business. They get another 3rd down. We have another opportunity to get them off the field. This time, Reed Doughty blitzes. His job was to cut Michael Robinson on this play. He tried to cut him. He whiffed. After he whiffed, Michael Robinson ran out into the flat. Wide open, because that was Reed Doughty's responsibility. He misses. Easy walk-in touchdown. No one over there. Michael Robinson really did some serious damage on that drive, and he capped it off with a 4-yard touchdown reception. It's 10-14 now. We're clinging to a 4-point lead after starting out of the blocks 14-0. So what's got to be concerning you at this point is we're not playing good defense in terms of 3rd down defense. We're doing well on 1st and 2nd down. 3rd downs are killing us. You don't know the status of Robert Griffin III in terms of his health and moving forward. Will it affect him? And so now the Seahawks are back in this game. 14-3, that's one thing. 14-6, that's a totally different issue. 14-10, now you got a ball game on your hands. Now you got a ball game on your hands. So now I just want points. I just want a drive that nets us a field goal at least. Something that kind of lets the Seahawks know, hey, our quarterback may not be 100. He may not be 80%. He might not even be 60. But he can still get it done. I just wanted to see some semblance of productivity from this offense. And we get a 1st down. So that's encouraging. Something we weren't able to do on the last possession. Then Robert decides he's going to go for it all on a play-action fake attempt. And he throws it deep to Pierre Garçon, who is covered. He actually has a step. If Robert leads him, maybe you get a touchdown. Maybe you get a big gain. Instead, he underthrows him. I don't think he could plant on that foot well. He won't admit to not being able to plant on that back leg and let it rip. But come on, we all know Robert, with the flick of his wrist, can throw it 60, 70 yards in the air, no problem. So to see him jumping essentially to throw that pass and not getting enough on it and having it picked off, I was more upset not at the throw but the decision. If you watch that play and you look at the replay, Joshua Morgan is running wide open on a crossing route across the field underneath that go route. So underneath that 9 route, he's running a crosser about 17 to 20 yards up the field, maybe 25 yards up the field. He's wide open. I mean, there's no one there. A Seahawks defender is trailing him by about 4 yards on the play. Easy completion. Instead, he went for it all. He was being greedy. And I thought he missed something there. I thought he missed an opportunity to make a really big chunk play, get us into Seahawks territory, and really get the momentum back on our side. Instead, he throws the pick. Seahawks continue with the momentum. They get the football. This was right before the half with about 3-4 minutes left in the first half. They drive the football the length of the field, end up with a field goal as the defense was able to hold once again in the red zone. I was so proud of the defense in the first half because after the first 2 drives, the offense gave them nothing. And they were on the field quite a bit in that first half, but they were able to bend but don't break. And that's what I love about this defense. You say what you want about all the yardage that the teams that we play against are able to compile and amass, but it doesn't yield points. And I'm fine with that. If you want to go from 20 to 20 and then have to settle for a field goal, knock yourself out. The only thing that was upsetting was that the Seahawks had an injury to their kicker. He sprained his ankle. We didn't test him out. We never made him kick a 42, a 45, a 47-yard field goal. Every time they had to settle for a field goal, it was 22 yards. It was 24 yards. It's a chip shot, essentially an extra point. One that he could make by just kicking the football and not having to actually use his foot to plant and actually drive the football. So that was the only thing that I was really upset about. But again, I wasn't going to cry over spilt milk. We held them to a field goal. That's all you can ask for once you allow them to drop the football down the field. And so it's halftime. 14-13 Redskins are in the lead. And I felt good about that. Because if you look at our 7-game winning streak, how many games did we go to the half? 13-10, 14-10, 14-13. How many games was the score 14-10, 14-13, 13-10? How many games were right around that same score, whether we were winning or losing? There were plenty of games during that 7-game stretch that went to halftime. I think the only game that didn't have a score that resembled something along those lines was the Philadelphia Eagles game at home. I think we were up big in that game going into the half, or at least 13-3, something like that. But all the other games, 13-10, 14-10, 14-13 going into the half. And so I said, that's exactly where we want to be. Now let's make the in-game halftime adjustments that we've been making during this 7-game streak to win us football games. Let's come out, execute, out-execute the Seahawks in the second half, as we've done all these other opponents during this 7-game winning streak. Let's out-execute the Seahawks, win this game in the second half. So the Seahawks get the ball to start the second half, and this is what I'm referring to. You know how I feel about getting the ball after the half. They got the ball, so now we got to find a way to get a stop. They've scored basically on their last 3 possessions. They've scored 13 unanswered points after we jumped out to a 14-0 lead. It's 14-13, so we need to buckle down, get a stop. Third downs are killing us right now. We're getting the Seahawks to third down. We're getting pressure on Russell Wilson. We sacked him about 5 or 6 times in this game. We were getting pressure. That wasn't the issue. The issue was on third downs. We weren't finding a way to get off the field. That was the issue. And so they come out in the second half. Marshawn Lynch breaks the tackle of Cofield and Kerrigan in the backfield, who had a shot to bring him down for a loss or a minimal gain on the play. Instead, he breaks their tackles, gets 26 on the play. They drive it all the way down the field, get to the 1-yard line, and at the time, this looked like the play of the game. This looked like the play of the game. There were several plays in this game that I thought were turning points, and I thought this was one of them. Marshawn Lynch at the 1-yard line. The play is absolutely blown up by Cofield. So Cofield absolutely blows up this play. He gets in the backfield, and Fletcher is there in on the tackle. Cofield puts his helmet down to make a tackle. Lynch runs into the back of his lineman, and Cofield's helmet hits the football. It pops up in the air. Jarvis Jenkins is right there on the ground where the ball lands, puts his paw out, snags it. Redskins ball on the 1-yard line as they are able to force a turnover with the Seahawks going in for the go-ahead score. What a huge play early in the second half. I mean, this is big. Now we need to flip field position. We need to get a couple of first downs. If we're not going to drive it down and score ourselves, at least get a couple of first downs, give your punter some space, flip a little bit of this field position, and if the Seahawks want points, they got to drive 70, 80 yards to get it. Don't go 3 and out, punt from the back of your own end zone, give it right back to them at midfield or in your own territory, and have them knocking on the door of getting points again. Do something with the football. So we're able to go to Moss, and I told you Moss was big on third downs in this game. On 3rd and 5, Moss gets 6. We get the first down. Alfred Morris gets a nice little run. Sets us up for another first down. So we moved the ball a little bit. Got a couple of first downs, which is what we needed to do to reestablish field position. But we lose yards on a run play or a botch screen. It was a terrible screen again. We went away from the run. I can't understand for the life of me why we decide that it's not important to run on first down. We're having success running the football, and we just refuse to run it on first down. I thought we went away from one of our strengths. Robert is hurting. You needed to run the football much like you did against the Cowboys. We didn't do that in this game. If Alfred Morris had 27 carries in this game, I would have been perfectly fine with that. But he needed to be fed in this game, and I don't think he ate enough. So it's 3rd and 12. And this is when I started to notice maybe we need to take Robert out. Because he's already had the scramble, outside the pocket. And this is when I start to think maybe we need to take him out. I wasn't quite sure yet because I've seen the man play injured, and I'm waiting for him to make a play. He's not your average injured quarterback. He's still got a few tricks up his sleeve, and I was waiting for him to pull one out of the bag. But on 3rd and 12, with Joshua Morgan running across the field on a drag route, with the defender behind him by about 3 steps, a ball simply put on Joshua Morgan or leading him, allowing him to simply run in front of it, catch it in stride, will get us a first down. There's no one over the middle of the field for the Seahawks. He catches this, he's going to get 17 yards. Minimum. Instead, Robert airmails it behind him, tips off of a Seahawks defender, could have been picked off. And that's when I started to think, do we need to pull him out of this game? I mean, that was one of the worst throws I've seen Robert make all season long. And I know, you know that I know that you know, that we both know, he's an accurate guy. We've seen Robert be pinpoint accurate for the most part this season. There's a reason why he had a 65.6% completion percentage this season, among one of the best in the league. Because he's an accurate guy. When a receiver's open, he hits him on the money and allows him to run in stride. Well, he wasn't doing that in this game. And here was an example of him having a wide open target that he just flat out missed. So we had to punt. Very, very disappointing because this drive had promise. Even though it started all the way back at the 1-yard line, we picked up 2 first downs. If we could have picked up one more, got a chunk, because that pass to Joshua Morgan would have been a chunk. Maybe we can start to do something, and even if we don't, the Seahawks would have had to have went 90 yards for a touchdown because we were going to get off a nice punt because Sab Rocca was kicking the cover off of the football. Very proud of his performance in this game. Thought he kicked the ball extremely well and really took Leon Washington out of the punt game. That was one thing we didn't have to worry about because Sab wasn't giving him a chance to catch the ball and have space to run. Our special teams units have been excellent all season long, and Sab Rocca added to that by kicking the ball high and deep. Excellent punting by Sab Rocca. He even coffin kicked one of them. I mean, it was some really good punting on the part of Sab Rocca in this game. So the Seahawks get the football. We hold them on 1st and 2nd down. It's 3rd and 3. And Josh Wilson is called for holding on 3rd down. extends the drive. Russell Wilson runs later on in that drive for 28 yards down to the Redskins 30. They're looking like they want to finally take the lead as they get into field goal range. They're at 30. Again, keep in mind, their kicker, Steven Hoshka, injured his ankle early in the game, and so if we can force them to kick a long field goal, maybe he'll miss. That was the thinking at that time. But then they decided to cut it loose, and they had open receivers. He misses Sidney Rice open for a touchdown. He misses Doug Baldwin, and this one was even more egregious because Doug Baldwin ran past the defense, was wide open in the end zone, and he just overshot him by about 2-3 yards. And so that was a huge miss. Very, very beneficial to the Redskins because that would have been a dagger had he been able to complete that deep ball. And so I had made the point and really drove it home and was really emphatic about telling you that Russell Wilson does not miss on play action fake. Well, he missed Doug Baldwin, and I'm not sure if it was play action fake or not, but nonetheless, he had an open receiver, and he just flat out missed him. And so on third down, we send the house. Josh Wilson comes free, gets the sack on the blitz, back it around the 42, 43-yard line, forces them out of field goal range. They have to punt, which is great because we're still clinging to that 1-point lead. But at some point, if this offense does not get it in gear, is not able to extend this lead to 4 points, to 8 points, the Seahawks at some point are going to score. How long do you think the defense can hold up without any help from the offense whatsoever? Keep in mind that this is not a great defense that the Redskins are putting on the field. This is a bend but don't break defense, and so far they have not broken, but they are showing that they're elastic because they are bending to the max. At some point, they're just going to snap. You can only bend for so long before the materials just start to deteriorate and they snap. And you knew it was going to happen if this offense could not get something going. And so it was imperative that we find a way to do something offensively. After forcing that punt, the Seahawks get a great punt. They have one of the best punters in the league in John Ryan. And so he kicks it. They down it at about the 4-yard line or so, and we're in trouble because now we're backed up again. And right now, this isn't the time we need to be backed up because I felt like Kyle Shanahan was struggling with the play calling. Robert was struggling with his mobility, so if pressure comes, he can't get out of there. I just felt like we needed space to breathe, and we weren't getting it. The Seahawks weren't giving it to us. They were suffocating us at this point, and we just needed oxygen. We just needed space to breathe, and we didn't have it. And so the first play of the possession, Robert goes down. They sack him. And you knew that we needed to have success on first down. And here they are again, avoiding the run, electing to pass, and it backfired. We were sacked. And once you get sacked on first down, the possession really takes on a different meaning. Now, we're already backed up. We started the possession at the 4. The sack brings us to around the 1 or 2 yard line. At this point now, you're just trying to find a way to get a few yards to give your punter space to kick. It's no longer about getting a first down. And so we have to punt. Sam Rocca gets off a beauty, kicks it out of bounds. Leon Washington doesn't get to return it, but that's besides the point. The fact of the matter is we're struggling. And the play caller isn't making it any easier. Guys aren't making plays. The defense is starting to wear down. At some point, you know this thing is going to fall apart at the seams. How long do you think this defense is going to hold up? Because I know you don't think that the score is going to end 14-13, Redskins win. I hope you don't think that that's the case. So if you're a Redskins fan at this point, you have to be thinking, whatever the Seahawks do, we need to hold them to a field goal. If we can't force a punt, just keep it close. If they get a 7, we could be in some trouble because a field goal by the Seahawks means a field goal by us takes the lead. And that's all you can ask for is a chance to still take the lead. A touchdown by the Seahawks, if they elect to go for 2, we'll make it a touchdown game. The way we've struggled in the second half, the way Robert is playing and the way that knee is looking, I'm not confident about us getting a touchdown. A field goal, yeah, we can do that. That's manageable. A touchdown, not so much. So it was imperative that we force the Seahawks into some mistakes and give ourselves a shot. And we couldn't do that. Seahawks get the football. We're able to force a stop on 3rd and 2. Reed Doughty gets a sack of Russell Wilson. And I don't know about you, but to me, this was Reed Doughty's best game as a Washington Redskin by far. Not even close. He compiled 2.5 sacks. I thought he was very active in the run game all game long. He had a beautiful tackle of Russell Wilson on a read option. They ran the read option. Kerrigan took the dive. Doughty comes down and run support for the option part of it. And Russell Wilson is doing all this shaking and shimmying, and Reed is just standing there. Are you done yet? And then he grabs him and slams him on the ground. I mean, Reed really played well. The only mistake he made in this game, really 2, and you can't call them mistakes. Well, you can call one of them a mistake. The other one, he didn't make a play. And so I don't call that a mistake as much as I call it not making a play. But he whiffed on Michael Robinson in the flats that allowed him to catch the touchdown, the first for the Seahawks of the game. And he didn't catch the interception in the end zone. Seahawks end up kicking the field goal. Those were the only 2 errors I really saw on the part of Reed Doughty in this game. Other than that, I thought he had a fabulous game in run support and blitzing and really going after Russell Wilson and bringing him down. And the 2.5 sacks speak for itself. Reed Doughty was very active in this game. So we get the football back after his sack of Russell Wilson on 3rd down. And Robert runs for 9 yards. And after that run, that's when I said, I think we need to take him out of the game. It really hadn't crossed my mind until that point. He had been off, and I knew he was off, and I was getting worried. But after that run for 9 yards, when he was noticeably limping and could barely make it to the sideline, and that play was blocked for about 25 yards, but he could barely get 9. And he tippy-toed his way to the out-of-bounds boundary, and at that point, that's when I really started to think maybe it's time for him to come out the game. Maybe he needs to come out and allow Kirk Cousins to come in and try and get it done. At this time, we're still up. And right after I say that, he throws a solid pass to Leonard Hankerson over the middle of the field on 3rd and 7. And Leonard just doesn't catch the football. And you know, if you're Robert Griffin III, you're a Redskins fan, you know you got... When we're talking about Leonard Hankerson, he doesn't have the best set of hands in the world. You got to hit Leonard where he doesn't have to extend too far for the football. You don't want Leonard having to make a superb catch. Because we already know Leonard's hands aren't the best. They're sketchy at best. And I thought that he was looking at a defender instead of trying to catch the football. He was over the middle. He thought he was going to take a shot, and I think he kind of short-armed the football. It wasn't the best throw. Make no mistake about it, Robert could have put that football on him to allow him to protect himself, give himself a chance to catch it and protect himself. But Robert was off in this game. And so he put it out in front of him, which made Leonard have to extend. And I think he was thinking about a shot instead of catching the ball. He drops it. Who knows what happens if he catches that pass? The only thing we can say is that it would have been first down from midfield, which might have been what the Redskins would have needed to really start kicking it back into high gear. But instead he drops it. Another wasted possession by the Redskins. And we got a punt. And at this point, you have to know the defense is getting tired now. They're getting gassed. They made it to halftime barely. They were able to refuel. They were running on E in the first half. Went to halftime. They were able to put in 3/4 of a tank of gas. But by the end of the third quarter, going into the early stages of the fourth quarter, they were down to 1/4 of a tank. And by this offense not producing, by them not extending drives, by them not getting first downs and continuously putting this defense on the field, that 1/4 of a tank dwindled quickly to the E-line. And you knew at that point the Seahawks were going to strike. And it happened. And really it was quick and painless. For as good as the defense had played all game long, That touchdown was quick and painless. Marshawn Lynch for 18. We get them to third down again, and we struggled on third downs all game long, and it continued on this possession as Zach Miller catches a 22-yard pass down to the Redskins' 32-yard line. A few plays later, Marshawn Lynch for 27 yards on another third down play. Again, another opportunity for us to get off the field. Marshawn Lynch makes D'Angelo Hall miss on a tackle as he sidesteps him and dances his way into the end zone. Russell Wilson gets out in front. You could argue that that was a block in the back, but it would have been ticky-tack. You would have been asking and begging and reaching for a call at that point. He just got in the way long enough for Beast Mode to get in the end zone. They score a touchdown. They go for two, throw a slant to Zach Miller. As usual, Madieu Williams late to the party. They get the two-point conversion. It's 21-14, and at that point, I was not feeling good about our prospects of winning this game. And the game had really come full circle at this point. We went from sheer and utter dominance to the Seahawks scoring 21 unanswered points to take the lead. I felt like the game had come full circle at that point. Robert wasn't himself. We haven't done anything on offense to suggest that we can get ourselves out of this hole. It's not looking good. On the next possession, that point was hammered home. All of a sudden, for some reason, our center, Will Montgomery, just couldn't snap the ball correctly. I mean, down the stretch, he had a few bad snaps. This one skipped back to Robert, who tried to reach down and pick it up. Knee gives out at the 5-yard line. He's not able to get up and try to get on the football. The ball is literally laying on the ground for about 7 seconds. The offensive linemen of the Redskins are blocking. They have no idea the ball's on the ground. All of a sudden, an aware Seahawks linebacker sees the ball laying on the ground. He runs in, slides, covers it up. Seahawks are in business at the Redskins' 5-yard line. And again, the defense, who at this point is right before the E-line, give it their last stand. They hold the Seahawks out of the end zone, force them to kick another field goal. And we had to have it. It had to be a field goal. A touchdown and the game's over. A field goal with the amount of time left, you still got a shot because it's a 2-score game. And if you can just get something, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, it's a little bit over 6 minutes remaining in the game. You do something here, you still got a full complement of timeouts. The game is not over. We've seen this team pull themselves out of holes like we did against the Baltimore Ravens. So we know the precedence is there. We can come back. But we're going to have to do it with Kirk Cousins. And I didn't feel bad about that. I said, all right, Kirk, you're in. Show me what you got, Kirk. And you've had experience in situations like this. You came in against Atlanta. You played the whole game against Cleveland. I feel good about you being in the game. He comes in and completes his first pass. I like what I see. But you knew that the Seahawks, defensively, they had ratcheted it up. And they started coming after him. The Rebus was struggling in the protection game, and the pocket started to collapse. We ended up having a punt, and I mean that was basically it. I mean, once Robert left the game, the energy left the building. We really didn't have a shot. This game was done. Once we went down 10, and Kirk wasn't able to come in and really catch lightning in a bottle on that first possession and get points, and we had to kick the ball back to Seattle. I mean, that was it. That was it. That was a done deal. We needed to get a first down, a series of first downs, put ourselves in a position to kick a field goal at least, and we couldn't do it. And so we lose the game 24-14. A valiant effort by the Redskins, by this defense, by Robert Griffin III, but it just wasn't enough. We just didn't do enough offensively, and the defense, bless their hearts, I felt like the defense played good enough for us to win. You can blame the defense all you want. Yeah, we spotted them 14, but 14 points isn't enough to win games in the National Football League. You know that. 17 isn't comfortable enough to win games in the National Football League. You need to be scoring 20 or more, and we failed to do that in this game. Our offense went stagnant, and we know why. But again, I'm not here to make excuses. I heard a lot of people chirping that the Seahawks were the better team. Even Redskins fans were saying, hey, we just got beat by a better team. I don't know that to be the truth. We got beat by a healthier team. I will grant you that. But I'm not sure if they were the better team or not. Normally the better team wins. They won, so I guess they are the better team. But when we had a quarterback that was at 80, 85% to start this game, they couldn't stop our offense. I mean, we marched down the field and made it look easy on our way to 14 points early in this game. I would have loved to have seen what we would have been able to do if the defense was able to get a stop after that second touchdown on 3rd and 12. Would have loved to have seen the Redskins offense. Loved to have seen us get the football back one more time with good field position and the crowd into it, the momentum. I would have loved to have seen us get the football and see what we could have done. Whether it been a field goal, another touchdown, what. It would have been nice, but it didn't happen. Again, if. It didn't happen. And so the Redskins go down 24-14 in this game. Trent Williams loses his cool at the end. Basically palms and smushes the face of Richard Sherman, which I'm pretty sure every Redskins fan, every Redskins player wanted to do. I think Trent did it for all of us. But again, don't lose your composure. Don't lose your class. We don't need to go out like that. We're a good group of guys, a good bunch. And so no need for that. You know, I felt like the Seahawks got under our skin a little bit. And that's what the Seahawks do. They love to talk trash. You saw Brandon Browner being really physical with Pierre Garçon, flinging him around. And really, again, how is a penalty not thrown on some of those plays? It escapes me. He was being extremely physical. So was Richard Sherman with our receivers. But I won't blame anyone for this loss. The Seahawks just beat us. Plain and simple. They out-executed us. They were able to get it done offensively and defensively after falling behind 14-0. Hats off to them. I tip my cap to them. They got the job done. On the road, down 14, they weathered the storm. Adversity hit, and they rose to the occasion. Seahawks get the win. They move on to play the Atlanta Falcons in the divisional round. Meanwhile, we go home. Now we await the MRI results for Robert Griffin III, but I already think in my heart that it's a torn ACL and a possibly torn LCL as well. It is what it is. At this point, you can't go back and change it. I don't second guess anything that occurred in this game. I just feel like you got to try to win. And if the man tells you he can play, you play him. There's not really much more to talk about. Sometimes you got to save players from themselves, but I think Mike Shanahan said it best. He deserved the right to go back in the game and give it a go. And he got that chance. He hurt himself. He had to come out. Simple as that. Where I feel slighted and cheated is not running the ball enough. That's where I feel like the problem really was in this game, is that AM didn't get to wake up the Seattle Seahawks. It just felt like we went away from the run game. We didn't run it enough on first down. So what? You get 1 on first down. It's 2nd and 9 instead of 2nd and 10. So what? You get 3 on first down. It's 2nd and 7 instead of 2nd and 10. We weren't patient with the running game. I thought, and we didn't need to be patient with the running game. It was working. It isn't to say that Alfred Morris struggled early on in the game running the football, and so we just needed to be a little bit patient with it and have the stick-to-itiveness to continue to run the football, even though we were smashing our head against a brick wall. That wasn't the case. At one point, Alfred Morris had 11 carries for 60 yards. And we just didn't feed the bull. We didn't feed him. So that's it. I mean, that essentially is our season. 10-7, division winner, ousted in the first round of the playoffs by a solid Seattle Seahawks football team. Quarterback goes down with an injury. Don't know the extent of it, but the injuries finally caught up with us. Lichtensteiger goes down. Griffin goes down. We know about all the injuries on the defensive side of the football. London Fletcher has been playing. I don't know how he's been playing all these weeks with his nagging injuries. They just finally caught up with us. You can run from the injury bug for only so long before it's like Pac-Man. It's going to catch up with you eventually and gobble you right on up. and we got caught. So that's it. I'm proud of the fellas, though. I won't sit here and play the blame game. I think that the players, the coaches, they all did a fabulous job on this 7-game winning streak and gave us a chance to actually experience the playoffs. And like Mike Shanahan said on the press conference today, this season has elevated the bar for us. We were just excited to get to the tournament. We were just excited to get a ticket to the dance. We just were excited that someone asked us to go to the ball. We're the shy kid in the corner, and someone actually asked us to go to the dance. And of course, we happily accepted. And so we got a taste of what it's like to be in the dance. And now we want more. And I think Robert Griffin III's quote at the end when he thanked the fans, this guy is so classy. You got to love Robert Griffin III. And at the end, he said they have a saying at Baylor when he was in college. They got to sit at the table of success and eat. And now that we've eaten that success and it tastes good, we want dessert. And we'll be back for dessert next year. I think that's fitting right there. We were happy with the success of winning 10 games, winning the division. We were ecstatic. You would have thought we won the Super Bowl. And we should have been. Haven't had any success in a long time. Now we know how that feels. Time to brush that aside and look for bigger and better things now. It's not okay to just make the playoffs. It's not okay to just win a division anymore. Now we need to do damage when we get to the postseason. That's the next step. You want to evolve as a team and really start to build on what you've done this season. Don't take a step back next year and go 8-8 or 9-7. Go 11-5. Go 12-4 next season. Really make the Washington Redskins an NFC East powerhouse. Not just an NFC East, but an NFC powerhouse overall. That's the next step in the evolution. That's the next step in the maturation. And that's what we should be looking to do. And that's what I expect to do. The only thing that could stop us dead in our tracks is if Robert isn't ready to go next season when it starts, which is a very likely possibility if he tears his ACL and his LCL. He'll probably have to miss 6 months, which will put him missing the first month or two of the season. I feel good about Kirk Cousins if that's the case, though. We prepare Kirk the right way. We could go 4-2 in our first 7 weeks of the season because we'll probably have an early bye. It's rare that you get a perfectly timed bye 2 seasons in a row. This bye couldn't have come at a better time this season. We needed it in the worst way after week 9. And so week 10, that's the middle of the season. You can't ask for a better bye week than that. We'll probably get a week 4 bye this year. Right when we're playing good football, we'll be 3-1, and we'll get a bye and we'll start stinking it up or something. That's what's coming our way, though. We're probably going to get an early season bye. So if Robert misses the first 6 games, who knows? Kirk Cousins, with the proper preparation, he could go 3-3. He could go 4-2 and really give us a chance until Robert comes back. But that's looking way too far ahead. We've got the draft. We don't know what the MRI results are going to be. We've got the offseason in front of us, free agency. Got to re-sign some guys. Got to make some tough decisions. A lot of things looming here in the near future. I'll be here to chronicle it all. But as far as the Redskins report goes for this season, that's a wrap. Thank you guys for joining me this season. It's been so much fun talking about the thing that we both love. You love it. I love it. It's the Redskins. You've grown up a Redskins fan. I have. If you haven't and you've been tuning in, I thank you as well. Even if you can't stand me, you can't stand the Redskins, thank you for joining me as well. It's all love. And so it's been a fun season. It's been a long, fun ride. And I told you guys enjoy it because we didn't know how long it was going to last. Whether it lasted 1 week into the postseason. That's fine. Enjoy the ride. I know I did. I enjoyed every last single step of this ride. And it was fun. I wanted it to last longer, but it didn't. And honestly, I can say that I'm okay with that. Because I came into this season with 8-8, 9-7 expectations. And I got 10-6 in the division winner. So I come away from this season feeling damn good about what the Redskins were able to accomplish. Can't speak for you, but for myself, I feel good. And I feel like we have built something for the future now. Now we just got to see what our quarterback looks like, how he's able to respond from his injury, because even if he didn't tear anything, he's still got a lot of rest and rehab in front of him. And so I just feel good. It sucks that we're done, but I feel good about the future, and I think it's bright for us. Hopefully London Fletcher comes back and is able to play at a high level. Hopefully he doesn't decide to retire, because this is a tough loss. It hurts. It stings. That's who I feel the most sad for in the locker room. I feel for London Fletcher. I looked at his face. I looked in his eyes after the game. It was the look in the eyes of a man that was hurting. He was hurting. This one stung because he really thought that they had a chance this season. And he knew that if Robert was healthy, what if? And I know that's what was going through his mind. I could look at him and tell. I read people well. And I was looking at London Fletcher, and you could see, what if? What if? We jumped out to a 14-0 lead with a 80% Robert Griffin III. What if he was 100%? What if he was 80 for the whole game? What if? That's all you can ask yourself is what if. And London Fletcher, you could tell, he knows he doesn't have many more chances. It took us 5 years to get back to the postseason since the last time we've been. And so he doesn't know how many more chances he's going to get. He cherished this ride, and he was really looking forward to this really extending past wild card weekend, and it didn't happen. So I feel for him. But I feel like if we can get our pieces back, you know, guys that missed this season, saw the ride, maybe it propels them to work harder and become better. Fred Davis, Brian Orakpo, Carricker. Maybe guys come back. Brandon Merriweather. Maybe Tenard Jackson stops smoking weed and actually can play in the National Football League. I highly doubt it, but you just never know. This could be a better football team next season. I don't know, but all I know is I'm a Redskins fan etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. My Redskins spirit will never fall. Until we meet again, hail to the Redskins. It's been a pleasure. I'll catch you on the rebound. It won't be long before you see this face talking Redskins football again. Don't you worry. When Robert Griffin III MRI results come back, you might see me again just like that. When the draft comes around, you'll definitely see me. So don't worry. Sit back, enjoy the rest of the playoffs. And if you're rooting against the Seahawks, I'll be rooting right along with you. Because you never want to see the team that beats you go all the way. And after I was treated so disrespectful by the Seahawks fans, especially one in particular, and was disrespected by the Seahawks in general, I don't have that much love for the Seahawks. So, I guess I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan this weekend. Go Falcons. Go Skins. Hail to the Redskins. See you guys later.
That's right. Whether it's losses or wins, it's all Skins. Come get it. I'm holding down the fort. You know why? Because it's the Redskins Report.